I am Jonathan Stewart. I'm a Baptist minister and an RAF chaplain and part of Baptists Together. So as political landscapes change and the world is, or certainly feels like it's a more dangerous place than it has been for a while, I think there is certainly a sense of uncertainty and nervousness for people when they have to deploy and you have to leave your family, leave your support networks, travel and go to other countries and spend time there. And actually that means that the personal pressures that you face in your life can become heightened, whether it's a sick relative at home, whether it's the dishwasher or the fridge breaks and you're not there to be able to support them, actually can take a real toll on people, because you're there, you're doing a job, an important job, a busy job, but you've still got a life back at home and people that still depend on you back at home, and that could be challenging for people. And for me as the chaplain in a deployed environment, being able to support people in that, to be able to listen to their concerns, to point them to places where they might actually be able to get support, either for them or for their loved ones back at home, so that they can focus on the job that they're doing. Not because that's my reason for being. My reason for being there is the people, not to get them to do their job or to help them to do their job better, but to be able for them to focus and focus from a place of knowing that they are supported, they are cared for, and they are loved. My congregation, I guess, is the entirety of the unit that on which you operate. So that's service people. The people who wear the uniform. It's the civil servants. It's the families. It's the contractors. And so while we may not gather on a Sunday morning for worship, they are my congregation. They are my parish, I suppose, which you support, and therefore the problems that they might encounter, the challenges and the joys that they have in their life are very much the ones that I get to celebrate, commiserate and work through with them. The challenges you face as a chaplain, I think, is the fact that people spend a lot of time away from home, and that's actually myself, but it's also the service people as well, and that brings challenges. We're made to be in community with each other, and so being away from your community, being away from the people that provide you your support can be difficult at times, and people do struggle with that. So that's one of the big challenges. I think we are still living in a very unsettled world at the moment in time, and the men and women of the RAF are volunteers who are willing to if need be, put their life on the line, and actually that can be challenging for them, but also it's a joy for me to be able to support them as they go and do the job that they do, and they do very well. Sharing the good news in my context, I think it comes very much down to when we have the opportunity to do services, whether that's, say, dedications, weddings, we have the opportunity to share something of God's love and presence with people in that environment. But outside of that, on a normal day, sharing the good news, I think, comes in just being that welcoming, friendly face, that listening ear to somebody that may not have that or may not know where else to go for it, and it is to really sort of share God's love to them and share the good news of the gospel through just my presence with them, and being a place for them to feel comfortable, welcome and loved. What excites me about the job is there is on a very personal human level, it's the opportunity to travel and an adventure that you get. I've seen parts of the world that I never would have done if I haven't joined the military, and that's a real joy, and it certainly is exciting. The opportunity to work with different aircraft, which is I'm a bit of an aviation geek anyway, so being able to do that is a fantastic, phenomenal kind of personal privilege. And the opportunities it gives my family as well is something that really excites me. This is a calling for the whole family. It's not just a calling for me as an individual. And so seeing the advantages that my family, my kids get is something that is very exciting. But from a ministry point of view, what excites me is just being able to walk alongside people, to be expected to be in people's place of work, to be expected to be able to provide support for people, and to get a call from the doctor's surgery to say, I've got someone who wants to come and talk to you. Something I would never experience in the local church. And that's exciting because it means that the Christian ministry is very much front and centre in providing for people's mental, emotional and spiritual needs. So looking after the well-being of people within the military community takes many forms. It can take the place of sitting in groups and talking about some of the challenges of particularly things like deployment, but it can also be in a one-to-one environment, give people an opportunity to come to talk about some of the things that they have experienced while they're away. And that can be something that's traumatic. It could also just be the fact that they were away from their family and they weren't able to help and support them. And while I'm not a counsellor as such, I'm able to provide that opportunity for them to come and talk about what it is that they've been through the lens of actually having deployed myself and actually have an understanding of what life has been like on deployment, and allow them to start to process the experience that they had, and actually move from a position of struggling with something to a position of understanding it better and hopefully feeling a little bit more whole. I've worked with a number of people who have deployed and struggled, but I think one of the standout ones for me is somebody who went away and had a real challenging time while they were deployed, and over a series of sessions coming to talk, actually were able to move from a position of struggling, not just with them internally with how they were feeling, but also how that was playing out into their family and their work context. But after a number of sessions, being able to come to talk about it, to try and process and understand how they felt that actually they were not only in a better position themselves, their relationship they felt was in a much stronger place, and they were able to actually be even more productive in the workplace. And I think that's a real privilege to be able to work with people, sort of take them from a point where they are holding something that is heavy emotionally for them, to journey with them and to allow them to see that weight getting smaller and smaller, to a point where actually they feel like they are in a much better place and they can walk the rest of their journey by themselves. Being a person of peace while working for a part of the armed forces might in some ways feel like it stands at odds or it's a bit of a contradiction, but I think actually they're very, very well suited. The RAF stands for being a force for good in the world, and for my role as a chaplain, while it may not be to bring peace to nations, if we can bring peace to people's hearts and people's situations and contexts, then I think that is really part of our role, and by being able to bring something of God's peace into people's hearts and to people's minds and people's situations, I think is incredibly important and incredibly invaluable, because if people are at peace themselves, it enables them or helps them in the role that they fulfill. And the role that many people in the Air Force fulfill it can be one that's either dangerous, challenging, or sacrificial. If people in the armed forces and in the RAF, for me in particular, feel they are supported, then they are able to fulfill that role of being a force for good in hopefully a much better way that's better for them, better for the RAF, and ultimately hopefully better for the world as well.
Whatever your calling looks like, whether it's military chaplaincy like this or another form, we would love to connect with you, walk with you and share this journey of exploring accredited Baptist ministry.